When you were pretty young, someone told you that you should give up your faith in God or your interest in God in order to pursue science.
It was a Nobel Prize winner. I was an undergraduate at Cambridge, aged around 19. He said, look now, do you want to make a career in science? I said, yes, sir. Well, he said, if you do, I think tonight in front of witnesses you should give up this naive faith in God, because it's only going to hold you back. You'll never make it. You'll suffer by comparison with your peers. So give it up. Talk about pressure. I looked at him and I recall saying, sir, what have you got to offer me that's better than what I have got in Christ and Christianity? Science takes things apart to see how they work. Religion puts them together to see what they mean. And the question of meaning is very different from the question of how things work. Take ourselves, human beings. Science can study what we're made of, how all the different organs function, etc., etc. But when it comes to meaning, that kind of analytical medical science cannot give the answers. And it's therefore important to realize that science is powerful. It answers many questions, but actually it cannot answer the biggest questions of all.
What keeps bringing you back to talking about science and God and how those two things kind of fit together?
When I was about 14 or 15, I came across a book by a chemist. He opened my eyes to see that an intelligent scientist could also be a Christian believer. And he did it in such a way that made it fascinating, both sides of it. Because he believed you could teach science in such a way to make the universe fascinating and to attract people to the idea that there was an intelligent mind behind it. And therefore, that had such an influence on me, I understood it, and I wanted to share it with people. And I kept coming up with the common objection that science has buried God, that you can't have both. And I could see very clearly you could have both. I understood from history that many of the pioneers had both, and I gradually got to know lots of contemporary scientists who had both. Katy, we've written this book together, which has been a great joy for me. But why did you take this on?
My hope is that this book can get past the sort of sticky debates and specific issues, although we do talk about some of those, but into a more positive conversation, which is less combative and more kind of enjoying the relationship between science and God.
I very much hope that the same thing will happen, because what I've discovered is there are ways of looking at these so-called sticky things that don't mean that you have to be gullible, nor do they mean that you have to chuck away your scientific insight and so on. But they need to be thought about because some of them are tricky. But the important thing is to look at the wider picture and look at those things in their context rather than see them as insuperable barriers, which they certainly are not. We needn't fear exploring truth and finding out about the universe. And once young people see that it's possible to do that, which I hope our joint book will demonstrate to them, it opens up new worlds. It doesn't close anything down. Sadly, in some contexts, in some parts of the world, Christianity is presented as a mind-numbing kind of ritualistic religion that you perform, when all the time, actually, it's a relationship with God that is very open to exploring the world He's made, because doing that is honoring Him.